Get my 6. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the most awesomest homesteading channel on the planet that has nothing to do with homesteading whatsoever. Homesteading off the grid. So, my voice is a little out, and I'll explain why. I'm not ill. I was doing a lot of screaming last night. You might have heard that. We've got a neighbor over this way sawing up some trees that had fallen down in the forest, so it might make for some interesting backdrop moving here, back in this area, to see who or what may or may not be creeping up on them to watch or creeping up on me. That's what get my 6 means. It's military jargon for watch behind me, get my back. People who have been here on this channel for a long time have been known to see some pretty unexplainable things back there. Now, if you watched my last live stream a few nights ago, it's when we were trying to get people to reach out to Heath over at Heath's house. Again, if you haven't subscribed to his channel, please do so. The link to Heath's house channel is in the description box below. We pushed him over the numbers we wanted to get him over, but we were trying to reach him because he helps me coach youth basketball. We coach a middle school level team in a league, and Heath had to miss our last 2 games because he's hiking up Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa to raise money to build wells for drinkable water for people in Africa. So I talked about how we had won our playoff game this past weekend, and we were playing for the championship in the finals on Monday night, which as of this recording was last night. So a lot of you were saying, hey, good luck. We hope it all goes well. So I wanted to let you know how that went. We won. We are the league champions, 7th and 8th grade champions. That's the highest grade level in this particular league. The kids will have to move on elsewhere next year. They're going to high schools where they're going. My son and his son and the 8th graders. So they'll be playing at the high school level. But we won the championship by 1 point. We won 45-44. It was the most intense basketball game I have ever coached in my life. And I've been coaching for 30 years, multiple sports. We played a team that, I mean, just to be honest with you, I thought we were going to win by 20 points because we've been beating everybody the last half a dozen games by 20 to 30 points. And we beat this team in the regular season earlier in the year by 25 points. But this team came to play. They upset the number 1 rated team, ranked team in their playoff. We went into the playoffs ranked number 2. This team actually beat the number 1 ranked team, and they showed up last night to win. And they almost did on several occasions. We were ahead by 12 points at the beginning of the second period. They cut our lead down to 4 by halftime. And in the entire 4th period, they would tie it. They never took the lead, but they'd tie it and we'd start to pull ahead. They'd tie it back up. And it came down literally to the final second because we were inbounding the ball. We were up by 1 point with 10 seconds to go. And of course, they foul us every time we get the ball in. And they never sent us to the line. They just kept having us inbound it. So we finally did this deep backcourt inbound to one of our guys, and he dribbled, and just before they could foul him, he shot it. Well, it went off the back of the backboard. It was a half-court shot with like 1 second to go. And so, but the buzzer went off, so we were celebrating our win. But then the refs called everybody back and put 1 more second on the clock and gave the other team the ball. Yeah, I mean, that's how intense it was. We had to win it twice. So the other team were not able to successfully get the ball in. They threw it across. The clock starts running. Our team swats it down cleanly, no fouls, and we won by 1 point, 45-44. I know the coach of the other team. I've coached against him before. He is tough. He usually ends up in the championship finals, and it was incredible. My son's on the team. Heath's son is on the team. So one of them, he's got 5. If you happen to go over to Heath's house today to subscribe or just to watch whatever video he's uploading, checking to see how he's doing in Africa, please congratulate him because our team are the champions. We won a championship. And it was so great because half the kids on our basketball team also were on our tackle football team. And we made it to the Super Bowl in that league, but then we lost by 2 points. So I told them before the game, guys, we're not going to have a repeat of that. We're not going to go all the way just to lose in the end. And it was close. And then also, and I'll end with this as far as how the game goes, you'll also remember in that live stream that I talked about how One of my best friends recently passed away 3 weeks ago. His name was Kevin Higgins. He was a coach. He was the original head coach of this team, and I was always his assistant. And many of these kids on this team, we also coached together for some as many as 8 years in flag football. So it's truly a family, and we are like family with these kids' parents, so many of them. They come to our home, we go to theirs, we get together and do things in public. We'll go fishing together, swimming in the rivers and lakes together. We've gone on trips together. Got a trip coming up with one of the families from the team here in March. It's just a bunch of incredible relationships that we formed through youth sports. And so when one of our own passed away, it was really difficult. So after we won the playoff game, I told the kids, I said, we are dedicating this championship finals game we're going into on Monday night to Coach Higgins. And one of the kids and his mother made this huge banner, and it said, Coach Kevin Higgins, this championship victory is dedicated to you. And it was beautiful. And he brought it to the game, and he says, hey, he had it closed up. It was a secret. He says, when we win, we're going to fly this high. Oh, gee, no extra pressure, Coach. So I had that. And then Kevin's son, who has always played on our team, but he didn't this year. He didn't play this year. He came to the game with his sister and his mother, and we let Coach Higgins' son come sit on the bench right beside me for the whole game. And we had 2 balls that the league gave us to have as team balls throughout the season. And so after we won, we gave one of the balls to Coach's son, gave the other one to his daughter, and we let him take the banner home, of course. And I couldn't think of a more beautiful end to a beautiful season. And Coach Higgins and I, we coached together for 8 years. We never made it to a finals. We came close one year. We got beat out the game before. So it was so special to win this for him and in his honor. And for those kids, every kid on the team that played, we had one little kid, one little 7th grader. He didn't get as much playing time as I would have liked him to get. There's about 4 or 5 of the guys that ordinarily when we'd get a big lead, we'd let these kids, we made sure they always got as much playing time as everybody else. But last night's game was so tight. All those kids got in. All the kids got multiple times going in and out of the game. But the kids that just weren't quite up to snuff compared to some of the other kids didn't get as much game time. And I apologized to them and their parents after the game, and they were such class acts. They're like, no, Coach, we get it. They said it was more important for us to win this championship than to make sure we had equal playing time. But one of those little kids, he got in and he got fouled, and he got 2 foul shots, and he actually made both free throws. And after the game, he told me, he said, Coach, that's the first time I've ever scored in the game. I've never scored in the game, and I made both of my foul shots. And he was so excited. And I said, yeah, and guess what? We won by 1 point, right? He's like, yeah. I said, you basically won the game for us. Because let's say you would have missed one of your foul shots. It would have been a tie. We would have gone into overtime, and there's no guarantees about what's going to happen in overtime. And let's say you missed them both. We would have lost by 1. So I said, you didn't get as much playing time as I wished you had, but these 2 points you scored, which are the first 2 points you've ever scored in a game in your career, are the 2 points that won us the game. And man, that kid just lit up, and his dad was with him, so his chest swelled out. And there's truth to that. I'm in sales, but those are just the facts, Jack. It was a wonderful time. So now that I've talked about my basketball team and Heath's basketball team for almost 10 minutes, let me get into channel stuff, okay? But I wanted to give you that update, and that's why my voice is hoarse. I was screaming and yelling. It was intense. Oh, my goodness, it was intense. We got home last night, and I built a fire in front of the wood stove, and I was sitting there enjoying a cold one. And Daniel was upstairs talking with his friends from the team and all that. And my beautiful bride, Dearly, she recorded the whole game. And she starts watching the game again. And I said, honey, stop, because I heard the whistles. I heard the screaming. I'm like, stop. And she says, why? I said, I am like adrenaline-wise exhausted. I can't hear that. Let's watch it 3 times tomorrow. But I've had enough. I got to have quietness and hearing my fire crackle after that. It was such an emotional experience. She said, oh, okay. So she turned it off. Bless her heart. In the real way, not the typical Southern way. All right. We got an email. Here's more good news. I want to share this good news with you, too. This is from Lori Thomas in Waverly, Tennessee. You remember her husband was in the hospital. He had to have some bypass surgery. Lori emailed and said, "Hey Kevin, I wanted to give you and your subscribers an update on Robert's surgery. He pulled through the quadruple bypass surgery on Thursday and is on the mend. He is doing well and working towards getting home over the next 5 days. He's in good spirits and was overwhelmed when he read all the comments from your video prior to the surgery. We can't thank everyone enough for all their prayers and well wishes. It truly means a lot and we are very grateful. Please share so your subscribers will know the outcome and continue to pray. He has a long road ahead for recovery. Thank you, Kevin. You have permission to read this and use our names. Lori and Robert Thomas of Waverly, Tennessee." So, Lori, I'm happier to hear about your husband pulling through that than I am to know that our team won a championship. That basketball is a game. What you're dealing with, you and Robert, that's life. So, we're happy to hear this good news. Thanks for sharing it with the channel. Now, here's another email. This one's short, and then I've got a couple really good creepy stories for you. Got some UFO sighting stuff. To start with this one, this comes from Amy Camaglia, or maybe it's Samaglia. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, in Key West, part of Ground Zero, Florida. I was down in Key West earlier, a couple weeks ago. Beautiful place, but there's some odd stuff going on in the skies down there. This is what Amy writes. "Hi, you can share this and use my name. I just saw this 5 minutes ago in Key West with my husband." And this email came in 2 nights ago, I think. She says, "We were on the water's edge this night, lying on recliners, looking up, and we both saw a metallic, shiny, lit up, somewhat small, drone cylindrical object." That's a lot of adjectives, Amy. "Fly from the ocean in toward land, maybe 500 feet up, I'm guessing, and when it got over shore, it disappeared. I asked if he saw it, and he said, 'You mean the thing that just flew into a different dimension? We just got here and come here all the time, but we never saw this before. Thank you, Amy Sibmaglia.'" Hey, Amy. I hope you and your husband enjoy Key West. I'll tell you, it's nice out here now. I'm actually sitting in the shade of a pine tree because the sun is very blinding, especially when you're staring down at white paper. But it's in the mid-50s and it feels like a heat wave because it's been in the teens at night and 20s during the day. But man, when we were down there in Key West a couple of weeks ago, it was like 80 degrees and temperate and balmy. Oh my gosh, we hated to leave and we can't wait to go back. So enjoy your time down there. Thanks for letting us know you saw what sounds like a UFO, UAP, that is interdimensional. Now, here's a couple of stories from Leanne, okay? Leanne writes, "Hi, Kevin. My name is Leanne. I live in the wild and wonderful state next to you." That would be West by God, Virginia. Wild and wonderful. They used to call it Wild and Wonderful West Virginia. But then some governor around the turn of this current century changed the state's motto to Open for Business. Okay. She continues, "I have been watching your channel since last autumn. Love it and all that it stands for. Thank you. Although I have had many encounters, as I am highly sensitive to the supernatural, etc., to keep this shorter, I will limit it to 2 experiences and 1 quick mention. You have my permission to use my name in these encounters on both your channel and in your books." And folks, and if you have a story of anything that you've experienced that's odd or creepy, supernatural, cryptid, like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, any of this stuff, you can send us your story to the channel. The channel's email address is crazylake@mail.com. And that email address is in the description box below. I see a lot of comments. People are like, "What is your email address? How do I get you a message?" It's in the description box. Just click on it, okay? As is the links, by the way, to From the Graves of Babes, which already the big batch of these that I repurchased or purchased because you guys bought the last batch out are already halfway gone. If you've bought one of these in the last couple of days, it's on the way. I shoved a ton of them down there into the mailbox and around the mailbox this morning. Awesome story. All right, continuing with Leanne's story. She says, "A quick background about me. I have a BS degree in criminal justice and have worked in various capacities in both government and in the private sector, with my best suited position as a former investigator." So this is somebody that's highly trained and highly skilled, okay? "I was trained to view all aspects of a situation without prejudice in order to come to a factual conclusion based on forensics and other valid evidence. I am now in my 60s. She's got experience on top of all this. As a believer, I always ask for confirmation as well. Okay, here we go. First story. In 2018, I lived in Tennessee, high up on a mountain just outside of Knoxville. Standing outside one summer evening with my neighbor and a friend in a dimly lit parking lot amongst many condos, we witnessed the same thing. My confirmation number one, as she saw it too. So somebody was there with her who saw this. Side note, prior to this encounter, which is coming up, in a couple of states I lived in, I noticed these cream-colored egg-shaped things with tripod-like appendages. The nucleus of the egg part wobbled and had an iridescent type of color effect. Okay, keep that in mind. So, this one evening with a bright full moon, my friend and I were outside, probably about 9 p.m. or so, when overhead we saw this huge, massive, moving, trailer-sized, long, rectangular, box-shaped UFO. Leanne, that's a lot of adjectives as well. What is this, Adjectives Day? Okay, we saw this very highly described UFO move towards us and hover just above the tree line above our heads. The former investigator in me took visual notes of this object. It defied gravity and physics that I know of. It appeared to be a dark gray, charcoal-colored, brushed, non-shiny metallic with visible indented lines on the sides and the corners at the end cap, which were slanted off, like a stop sign, but small slants at the corners. These slants ran the length of the object as well. It had porthole type windows that appeared as multiple shaved but raised 3D style rocks that surrounded these weird eye-shaped windows that were also in this type of brushed metallic surface, all one color. Picture layers of rocks widely surrounding the eye or almond-shaped windows, but shaved flat fronts. That is the very best way I can describe it, short of drawing a picture. Sounds kind of like an insect eye. All right. At first, it looked like a square because we were looking at the end cap, which was pointing down towards us. It was silent, no smell, no smoke, no motor sound, no steam, no engine, no squat. Well, one of these egg-shaped tripod things approached the end cap and melted right into it. It looked like it was sinking into melted chocolate. It sounds like fondue. So it hovered, end cap facing a bit downward towards us, literally above our heads. It sucked in this egg-shaped tripod appendage thing and then quietly and slowly pivoted, which is when we could see the massive length of this UFO. It was the size of an Atlas moving van trailer. It then turned, lifted up ever so slowly, hovered again, and then took off like a bat out of hell. Never saw it again, but prayed to the Lord for confirmation, and someone out of Knoxville got a faint pic of it and had posted it. Clouds were partially obscuring it, but for certain it was the same thing. 2 confirmations. P.S. The sparkly looking things in the sky that resemble 4th of July handheld sparklers, they are not stars. They are the sides of the ends of these long cloaked tractor trailer sized objects and ships. I prayed about these, and the Lord put on my spirit that this is what they are. Seen them here too, just an FYI. Okay, next story. She says this will freak us out. She says, I lived on Kent Island in Maryland, and this happened around the year 2001, 2002. This is creepy. I like this story better than the first. I was walking my dog in our neighborhood, which consisted of single-family homes, and it was around 9:30 p.m. It was a warm and quiet summer night as my dog and I approached the 4-way stop where all of our mailboxes were located. That's the reason for saying this. All of a sudden, my dog froze with one foot up and its tail out. He was a miniature poodle, very intelligent, now deceased. He didn't bark or growl, just froze in fear and would not move. When I looked up, I froze too because what I saw would scare the bejeebies out of anyone. At first, I thought rationally and that this was just some tall kid. It was adult-sized, in a costume playing a prank, but it wasn't. Why? What I saw, and I had perfect vision at the time, I am now old, LOL. Hey, nothing funny about that. I have to have this stuff printed off in 14-point font and hold it back like this or I can't see it. It was a black cloaked figure, its cape blowing in a slight wind, with devil-type horns poking through its caped large hood and red glowing eyes. Seriously. Sounds like old Red Eyes. A lot of you folks who've been around here a long time know exactly who old Red Eyes is. If you don't, stay tuned. You're going to find out around October. Again, the investigator in me kicked in, and what I witnessed was gasp-worthy, if not diaper-worthy. I just heard footsteps. Make sure you guys are getting my 6. Seen some odd things walk across the backdrops. Some of these videos. Its feet were off the ground by about 4 feet off the road. How did I know this? I could see the mailbox posts in the road beyond it. This demon, which is the conclusion I came to, was in the middle of the road and the mailboxes were on the other side. The road I was on, I could see past it and all the way down it. I was in front of this thing. It hovered, staring at me, and when I said these eyes glowed, they were like red round lights, like perfect round circles. The hair on my head began to stand up, and I rebuked it in the name of Jesus Christ, and it literally disappeared in a flash, like flying away. I wasn't drinking, and I do not do drugs, but I could have used a drink after seeing that. Thank God there is power in the name of Jesus. It worked. Okay, confirmation, she says. I tried to put it out of my mind and move on beyond it. I kept it to myself because I thought people would think I was crazy if I disclosed such an encounter. It was bizarre. Anyway, I got my confirmation. My best friend and her daughter came to visit one weekend. Her daughter was about 12 at the time and mine was 11. Our daughters wanted to go for a walk with my dog, the same poodle as before. It was early evening but dark. Well, they came running back crying, hyperventilating, and speaking and screaming incoherently, scared to death. Finally, when they calmed down, we found out the issue. They saw the same demon I saw months before. Same description, confirmed. Needless to say, we moved. Oh, super quick note. My dogs and I woke up around 3 a.m. a couple of weeks ago. I now have 2 German Shepherds. To this loud jet engine sounding noise outside. My dogs were going in full-blooded German Shepherd mode, barking and raising hell. So I knew I wasn't hearing things. But when I looked outside, and I live up in a high elevation and can see all around my home, nothing, not squat. But the noise was so loud, the house shook. And then on your channel, others were describing the same thing. Wow, more to come. Finally, thank you for your service too, Kevin. My dad was an Air Force officer, so I totally appreciate our veterans. Well, Leanne, thank you for appreciating my service. I appreciate your appreciation. Again, you have my permission to use my name and my experiences, Kevin, on both your YouTube channel and in your books. I have many more where those came from, but we'll leave these 2 here for you today. Be blessed. You and your family always, Leanne. Thanks, Leanne. So, I've got one more for you. I know I usually like to keep these around 23 minutes, but so many good stories are coming in, and I'm trying to get more of them on the channel, not just in the True Hauntings books, which we're up to Volume 8. Volume 9 should be out by the end of February. Packed full of literally, been doing this for years. Started, I think, in the early 2020s, 22, 21 maybe, with the True Haunting series. These are real, true stories people have had, personal experiences with UFOs, aliens, abductions, supernatural, paranormal, cryptid, just anything weird. And if you have any stories like the ones I'm reading that you would like to share with others, you can, again, email them to the channel, crazylake@mail.com. Please give us permission to share your stories and use them as we'd like. Here's one from Patricia. Patricia sent a couple of stories in here as of late, and I wanted to make sure to get one of them out here, and this is a really good one. Patricia writes, "Hi again, Kevin. I wish to share with you this beautiful visit that I had from my best friend in high school. Her name was Diane. This happened when I was a senior. My best friend Diane was a passenger in her boyfriend's truck that was hit broadside, and it happened on her side. She was just a frail thing, might have weighed 90 pounds of fat. She lingered in the hospital for 3 days. Then there came an announcement on the intercom that she had passed. This tore me up. My mother had come to get me. I couldn't eat or sleep for maybe 3 or 4 days, just remained in my bed grieving, until one night I was awoken by something. I don't know what. I sat up, and there she was at the foot of my bed, sitting yoga style and smiling with her crooked teeth. I only speak of this part for it adds to the validation of her precisely. I said, 'Diane, I thought you were dead," to which she replied, "I am," and continued smiling sweetly. Then I said, "Are you all right?" She reached out her hand to me and said, "Touch me." I did, and immediately was bathed in a peaceful calm. I laid back down, and from then on was able to deal with this trauma. I've always felt like God allowed her to do this because she had become a new angel. Thanks for reading this, Patricia. Patricia, thank you for sharing your story with us. So, folks, there we had a story about an angel, a demon, UFO sighting, interdimensional UFO down in Key West. And we got good news from one of our followers. They pulled through their surgery, and mine and Heath's basketball team won the league championship. We get a 3-week off season, and we're going into spring flag football. We're going to try to win another. So, folks, thank you for the time you spent with me today. I know how valuable all of our time is, and so I appreciate that you choose to give some of yours to me. Again, if you got a story, send it to us, crazylake@mail.com. If you want to read more awesome stories like this that truly happened with real people, check out the True Haunting series on Amazon in both print and Kindle. The links are in the description box below. And for a limited time, we still have a limited number of print copies of Amazon's former #1 ghost novel, From the Graves of Babes, written by me. Yep. That link's in the description box as well. You can get it from Etsy with a personal autograph, a little personal note on the back. Thanks for being here. See you for more next time.